Well, for those that are not like Mohammed, who are very tech savvy, they've been very active online this year, right? So let's switch the conversation into how active Kenyans have been behaving online. So Google, friends, have done what they do. They sit back, they look at their platform, they're looking at, okay, so these are Kenyans and they're going online. So what is it that they're looking for online? And we talked about that earlier. Kenyans have really Googled Biguna Biguna this year and Omena. I can see Omena. I mean, this is like Google experts have told us before. Lockdown, people at home, people start to think about how can I now spruce up the meal that I'm preparing for myself and for my family. So I can Omena, I could see. Miguna Miguna, I'm not sure. The other things that are coming out as top trending queries in Kenya by Kenyans: English Premier League makes sense, US elections make sense, thank you coronavirus helpers makes sense, coronavirus in Kenya makes sense, schools reopening, Tanzania corona, Boris Johnson, coronavirus in Italy, Waiguru impeachment, London marathon. You can clearly see how this is periodically over. During the London marathon, Eliud Kipchoge, waiting for him to win, and looking at the other Kenyans, and you're seeing, okay, see, this one it's gonna be Kipchoge Bekele, not who's gonna take this one. So very many people are active online. But let's look at the other data that was produced by Google yesterday. Dorothy Ooko, she is the head of communications and public affairs in Africa at Google. She joins us now on the line. Good morning, Dorothy.
Good morning, Eric.
Good to have you again on the show.
I am so glad you guys enjoy having me because I am privileged to be with you guys. Thank
On the contrary,
you.
Dorothy, it is us who are privileged.
Thank you so much.
So tell us about this data that you released yesterday.
Right. So every year we look at what people have been searching the whole year, and that we call Year in Search. And so we released that for Kenya and actually for the world yesterday. And I just heard you talking about Kenyans we are strange because we are not strange. We are peculiar. I think that's the adjective someone used because EPL is trending, whereas in other was number one, our number one trending search. In Nigeria, it was coronavirus. In South Africa, it was coronavirus. Globally, it was coronavirus. But for us, coronavirus is at number 4. EPL is at number 1. Isn't that amazing?
Well, that says something actually, yeah. Huh?
Right.
So
And then the
EPL
US elections was
and
number 2.
US
Yeah,
elections
US
number 2.
elections was number 2 in our country, and in all the others, US elections was number 2. So at least in that place, we think like the rest of the world.
And number 3?
And number 3 for us was thank you, coronavirus helpers. And I think that was driven by a doodle we had, which was to thank all the frontline workers who had been helping with corona. And what happens is if you open your Google search, you'd see the doodle, and people would then click to find out who are the frontline workers we needed to thank.
I see.
And we are the only ones, actually, when I look at the globe, that had the most clicks on that link and actually went to the website.
So we're very much in touch with. We knew what we needed to know about coronavirus,
Before you
but
started
we
going.
just needed to follow
Went
up
to
on
football.
the latest football results.
Exactly.
What's happening in Corona, we already know. Mutai Kago was doing a very good job of informing us on that.
Right. Indeed.
Dorothy, could it speak? I don't know how far analysis goes into this once you do the year in search. But could it speak to something else? Like, you know what? There's this heaviness of corona. There's the heaviness of having lost jobs and people not being able to meet their livelihoods. So there needs to be some kind of outlet and towards entertainment. And that's where you have football coming in. Could it speak to something deeper like that?
And really, that's what we hope. What you're saying is really true. That's what we hope that these such trending searches we are able to use. I think they're a thermometer of where people are at as a community, as a nation. And I think that, it could be that's what then drives people for something lighter to get out of this heaviness of coronavirus, heaviness of the lockdown. So we saw a number of, like, if you're doing comedy on YouTube, there was really a spike because people wanted something else to get them out of this dire situation that we had never been in. And so you're right, that analysis is absolutely correct and very necessary.
You know, when you talk about the personalities, like we were saying, if it was about getting information on COVID-19 from this personality who's just been appointed into the health ministry and given the job to spearhead the fight against COVID-19, when it comes to search results, he's number 5. The number 1 local personality is Miguna Miguna, and then Babu Owino, and then Raphael Tuju, and Joanne Kubai. Who's Joanne Kubai?
Right. Exactly. So if you look, Mutahi Kagwe was number 6 as a CS, and the PS, Mercy Mwangangi was number 8. So you're right that people saw them all the time. And I think the briefing that happened very regularly, people went online to find out, and people also went online to find out about the man himself and the docket he holds and what he was saying. One of the things that became famous was, I can get it, you can get it, and that people also went online to check, yes.
But how would we explain now the other personalities getting such high search results like Babu Owino at number 2?
That's a very, and I think it also leads to the question that had been asked about what can we say about Kenyans, about what drives us online. I think we released the YouTube non-music videos last Friday, and what we saw was like the number 1 trending YouTube video was the one of Size 8 and DJ Moina Tiff. That sort of scandal, we were just discussing that sort of scandal drives people online. We thrive on scandals and on bad boys and on bad, these things drive us really online because we are curious.
We are a motionless society.
Is that the thing?
Exactly, right.
I don't know why I keep seeing it. I don't know why I keep seeing it something deeper, Dorothy. Maybe I'm on a deep trajectory this
really,
morning.
tell me.
Because could it be that, look, you know what?
Yes.
It could be that you're looking for scandal, something to occupy your mind from what people have described as nonsense that is going on otherwise. And I may be going too political, but, something to occupy your time and your mind that, again, takes you away from the heaviness. Because if you say, okay, this is if scandal drives Kenyans, I mean, that would be a very interesting description of the people. But could it be?
I don't know if it's scandal, but I think it's also, we were talking about this at the launch as well. Is it that what happens online, so in news, drives people online? So if there's some news on Spice FM, people are going to immediately go online to check, is this the source? What happened? So there is what happens on social, what happens in news drives people online.
Right. Okay.
Right. So it's never just in itself. There's something that drives people. There is
or something that they're running away from in a reality that they don't want to
really
focus on.
This,
I am.
Like,
because it can't be that, attention from so many people at the same time is going in one area.
Let's look at it this way. I've actually found out who this Joanne Kubai is, who gets more search results than Mutai Kagwe and Mercy Mwangangi. Joanne Kubai is this teenager who posted some clips of her
on Instagram, isn't it?
About her home, and this is our living room, this is our study, this is my parents' bedroom, and now there was a whole conversation about that. So you want to tell me that is people just trying to look for sand in which to bury their head from what is happening around them?
Not necessarily bury your head, but to shift your attention, because it's something different that you can pay attention to as opposed to your current reality.
I think that we have an appetite for scandals because even if you look at Ruth Matete, I'd love to say that people were going in there to console with her and condole her for the loss of her husband. But we know that there was a story there and that drove people online. So if you look at the top five, there was always that. And even for the CS, there was the story of his son, remember, who was online. So there is really something about, and it's okay. I also think it's okay. I don't think it's terrible. I just think that's our peculiarity, and we look for that. And as you say, maybe life is just so terrible that looking at someone else in a worse state than you makes you feel better.
Well, Dorothy, what you've done here, you've entered the world of fantasy. Because
Right. It is actually, yes. And we're not, and really, when you're saying that we're not supposed to fantasize, I think what we are supposed to do is look at it factually and say the fact is these are the people have searched for over the year. What is it? And then you're looking at all of them and you're looking for renowned people and you're looking, so as a Kenyan, you'd look at Miguna, look at all that, and then you're like, okay, we only come to the CS of Health who was announcing, who had the daily COVID announcement, so related to Corona,
actually,
and then leave it at that.
Actually, what Google does is appropriate. You just report what you see and what is produced. You don't manufacture it. When I say fantasy,
No.
what I mean is all these things enable you to escape from your own dreary, pedantic life and into the lives. Because when you talk about personalities, they have this larger than life appearance of what it is they do with their lives. And there's something intrinsic interesting, and I'm using a polite word here about human beings. The pleasure we derive, one, from the misfortunes of others. Okay? The pleasure we derive, for instance, in a scandal and the outcome, depending on which side of the divide you are on. Husband leaves girlfriend marries again. All these things. It plays out, and that's where the fantasy I was talking about comes into play. So it provides you with entertainment at no cost to yourself except participating in reading it or in watching it. And it's something that actually at some point grips you. And as you correctly put it, Dorothy, it is not, it's removed from your day-to-day life. And it's something that in the midst of problems, you will find it is more attractive. It gains more traction.
Plus, it's a solace, kind of.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So it
It
gives you
is
that
a
solace.
solace. But if you look on the other hand, actually, if you look at the what is categories that were searched, so and I think it's not ambivalence. It's also something that we can't understand about Kennedy. Because if you look at the what is, they're very serious question. What is coronavirus was a trending question. What is a curfew? Because it was the first time where there's no coup d'etat, but there's a curfew, and people wanted to understand what that means. What is happening in Nigeria? People saw the hashtag end SARS, and they wanted to know what's happening. So when you look at the what is, there's a seriousness where people have been pushed by what's happening in the news. They go online. What is VBI? People wanted to find out, So it's one of those things about us and unique that when it's serious, we're there, we're looking for it. And also when it's something that's trending in the world, it is. So if you look at trending how to, we saw number 6 was how to play chess. Number 5 was how to play chess, which comes from the Queen's Gambit on Netflix. So the Netflix effect that pushed everyone globally to go and find out how to play chess and how to buy, So we are also, with what's happening in the world, what's trending, the Netflix Queen's Gambit, we are there. But we're also interested in what's happening locally, the scandals. But we're also interested in what's happening politically in other countries. So we are whole in that sense.
The how to, now that you bring it up, so if I look at how to, you'd imagine if the what is about corona, curfew, what is the fever, what is all these things. Well, there's what is entanglement as well.
There you go.
With it. We know what's happening in the world.
We are there. We are right there in touch with everything else. How to? There's how to file nil returns. Not to how to file returns.
Nil.
How to file nil returns.
And that's a recurring search every year.
Because of
how
what
to
happened
file
in June.
nil returns. I think that KRA needs to just help people find out how to file nil returns.
just file for us automatically. Nil returns unless you change. How to open a PDF file. How to check NHIF status at number 3.
Right.
Was this with the concern about getting hospitalization for COVID?
Exactly.
So people just wanted to find out,
COVID.
okay, am I sorted? Am I covered?
Right.
But then now you go into number 10, how to plant onions.
That was very interesting. And I was like, was there, it could have been like how to play chess. Was there an effect from something? But I think it was because, wasn't onion supposed to help cure corona, one of those myths that was going around about onions
Was
helping
it there?
to cure the virus
No,
or
it could
prevent.
be. I mean, that list was long. Yes.
Right. So I have a feeling that it had something to do with one of those myths about onions can help cure the virus or prevent you from getting the virus.
Plus, there were those who were cashing in on produce at some point when they lost their jobs, and tomatoes and onions were big on that list. So many people wanted to go, and even if it was that you're renting a small piece of land or whatever, and onions take 3 months
could
to mature
plant.
and you can harvest. So
Balcony and all.
that kind of thing.
Right.
don't
You're
know.
absolutely right. Yeah.
How to clear from CRB.
That is important because the credit bureau can ruin your life if you don't know how to clear. You need a loan.
But Dorothy, really, the credit bureau, in terms of functions, they're not really different from Google in this sense. You only present what exists. I mean, it's not as though they look for you and pick on you.
But isn't
But you
that
need to clear.
interesting as
No,
well?
there are many people who are complaining that you find your name there, and the process of clearing, you believe that you shouldn't be there. And now the process of getting your name off that, because of the impact it has on everything else.
Exactly.
But the process you got in there isn't faith-based. I mean, so this
okay.
believing that
You
you
took a
have
loan.
is all good and well, but usually there is some you may have neglected it.
Of course. But now you want to get out because you need a loan.
Yes,
Especially the M-Pesa loans that people are taking, and they thought that, I can take and then just not the Fuliza loans that I could take and not just pay,
And get
just
another
pay
line kind of
the
thing.
number.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then people are surprised that, oh my, the name goes to credit bureau. I need to really pay. So I think that shocked a lot of people and drove searches online.
I think the wonderful Kenyans forget that every financial transaction in this country carries an ID number with it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Even a
that's
telephone
why we are
line carries an
peculiar.
ID number with it. So
Right.
you're not
Right.
difficult to find. or to
Something else
locate.
here that
Yeah.
I think maybe indicates what happened to businesses with lockdown, with curfew, with fear for COVID-19 and maintaining social distancing. Salons were affected.
Yes.
And one of the
Right.
key searches here is how to style braids.
Right. You saw that. Yes. How to style braids. Yeah.
So people who would go to salon for all these other styles were thinking, all right, now the basic one that I can do, and maybe I could do it at home, is style braids.
And for the kids as
And
well.
for the
Remember,
kids as well.
parents were locked in with the kids.
Yep.
So parents, I think mothers were for the first time like, I need to style my child's hair. How do I do this?
Right.
You
For us,
know?
it was easy. Just let the hair grow, and
I know. I think there was a lot. Yeah, it's amazing how there wasn't how to take care of my beard.
I know.
what do you mean how to take care of maybe just let the beard grow?
There are things that work wonderfully in theory, like let your hair grow. Well, you could. You could, but then there's the little detail of encouraging wildlife to inhabit your head.
Yeah, there you go.
Because the hair, unfortunately, is not a subject of conversation that is limited to yourself.
Other people have to look at you.
There are other people who will want to have a piece of that conversation. And so the idea of letting it grow, Eric, in theory is a good one. In practice,
In theory.
yes, it's a completely different kettle of fish.
Right. But and what you're saying about that's different. But look at the how to health, the one of how to lose weight. People actually, I think those were the effects because after the virus, everyone we've put on weight. So
Yep.
again, a recurring such item is how do I lose weight? The first one, which has never been there, of course, is how to make a hand sanitizer. The trending, how to question health-wise. And then it was how to lose weight, how to lose the belly fat. So again, health-related, people were, I think, very conscious of the fact that they could, they needed to lose weight. We are always actually very conscious about weight.
Yeah. It also
Yeah, the
strikes
fact
me that,
trends show that.
Dorothy, even as you talk about it, it strikes me that people went here and then they were able to find the answers that they were looking for. whether it was an
Right.
answer that you were looking for in terms of, entertainment, or the question that you
Right.
asked on the Google search, like, how to,
Right.
and then you were able to find, I'm sure, a plethora of answers that,
Right.
catered to the question that you had in the first place. And I think that's an interesting point as well, that it's not just questions that people were asking, but that they found the
But they're
solution.
getting answers.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And they have faith and trust that when they come to Google, they're going to find the answers they need to do what they need to do. And it's almost like a safe space because no one is looking at, over your head as you're typing how to lose belly fat or how to
Yes.
get rid of pimples
Yeah.
because it's just something you were doing, getting a solution and maybe trying it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In looking at the joy that people derive from others' misfortune, I came across.
You're still on that.
Oh, I'm still on it because what I found is that the Germans have very long words to describe such situations. Okay? Now, for instance, the joy in someone's misfortune, they have a word for it. I am not going to try and pronounce it as the Germans would. I'm simply going to try and pronounce that as written.
Or Google Translate can help you pronounce it correctly.
There
Nice.
you go.
See?
Very well done, Dorothy.
At this rate, Google is going to help me tie my shoelaces. Yes. It's Schadenfreude. One word.
Wow.
Schadenfreude. One word which means joy at someone else's misfortune. You know how it is when someone slips
look at
and
that.
falls down, and you first of all pause for a second to see if they're not injured.
Then you
If they're not injured, then you laugh your head off. That one.
Right.
Yes. Schadenfreude.
Wow.
So,
I'm sure there's no English word for it.
I think there's an English phrase for what you do when such a misfortune befalls you. It's stiff upper lip. But what I find, though, every time I think of Google, Google has done something very interesting. For someone who grew up in an era where you read the encyclopedia, Google makes your life very easy.
Right.
Because yes, it turns pages for you. You simply ask the question and it produces it. As opposed to the old days when you first of all you have 12 encyclopedias. So does this fall under W or X? Then you look at W. Then under W, what does it fall under? But the goodness with that
But
reading,
wasn't there joy in that, in just going through those pages?
there was, and you actually ended up learning things you had not planned to learn.
Yes,
That is the
right.
joy of it. Yes.
Right.
Eric is looking at me as though he's wondering, okay,
I've just remembered there was one time when the results for KCSE were announced, and we sent reporters across the country. This is the top student from this county, the other county. So they found this particular guy, and he's like, I was just in my room reading the encyclopedia when the results were announced, and I
Okay.
found out that I have passed with the A's.
so the encyclopedia got a lot of good press.
Just in my room, reading my encyclopedia. When the results were announced, that's his way of
And I
passing
remember the
time.
colors.
Yes.
Do you remember the colors of the encyclopedia?
Yeah. So, Dorothy, as we wind up the conversation, every year you release this report where you look at what people have been searching and all. What kind of insights does it give you in terms of the psyche or the thinking or the feelings of the people in that particular year?
So I think there are many things. I think that these results, these trends can be used by anyone. So if I look at my favorite, which is the how to cook, if you look at the meals, it was how to bake using a jiko, how to make mandazi, how to make pancakes, which are recurring. And I had a YouTube cook channel. I'd make sure that these were top because Kenyans go online each year to look for them. So I think if you're a creator, you make sure, or a business owner, you make sure that you always have those. I think if you're a policy maker, it can help with looking at where the thermometer is. What are the things that people need? If you're a business, like I think there was one, how to open a PayPal account, because people then resorted to pay. How do you ensure that you make this very easy for people to follow. NHIF, how to make sure that people can be able to check the NHIF status and be able to get all that information. So I think it's for different organizations to look at this list and then see where can they do, what is it that people are looking for, and how do you make that thing available?
Yeah.
So if I was CS, he knows that the daily reports were actually good. People still go online to look for them, to look for him and the CS,
And the information.
Matthew Mangandi, the information. So it means keep doing it because people are going online. You may get tired, but it's a good thing. Keep
Great.
doing it.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's just looking at those information and then knowing that this is how we can get our business better. How to buy tokens is also one of those things. Electricity tokens comes up every time. It means that KPL needs to find out why is buying tokens such
So
a
difficult.
big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Make it
how can
easier.
we make it easier? Right.
True.
So
Thank
I
you very
think
much,
that
Dorothy.
those are the insights. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
We come to the end of the show. Just listen to today's proverb as we say goodbye.
Well, well, well.
Well,
Well, this is what happens when you've turned the page away from where you've written the proverb and you haven't to look at it.
just how to.
Yes.
Or where is today's proverb?
Where's today's proverb among these many proverbs? A clever king is the brother of peace.
A clever king is the brother of peace.
Yes.
Look at Dorothy looking all pensive.
Love it.
Taking
No,
it all
love
in.
it.
Thank you, Dorothy. Have a lovely day.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you,
a lovely
Dorothy.
day.
And
Bye.
thank you to everybody for
having
tuning
me.
into the Situation Room today. Join us again tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Have a lovely one. So, Dorothy, with the how-tos, well, this one we're not doing a how-to. We just look for a song with how. How deep is your love?
Yeah.
But the Bee
Oh,
Gees.
how nice.
That's for you. Lovely
Thank
day.
you.
Bye.
Bye.